When I was first approached about coming to speak to you today, I asked a simple question. What is the main goal? The topic or theme. And specifically, it was, what are your main issues? What is your biggest challenge? I can come in and talk to you about inspiration and motivation and sales growth and team building and leadership and management, pushing into the future, that growth and success. But I wanted to know what the biggest challenge you're facing today was. And you know what I was told? It was one word. Change. Change. Such an ominous word. It's like cloaked in fear, dark clouds, and rainstorms. And I've written extensively on this topic because I love that word, change. But in the business world, I joke that change is a dirty word. Why is that? Change is a dirty word because it's always that thing you didn't want to do that now you have to do. I mean, think about it. Very rarely do we use change in a positive sense. Very rarely do we use change in the affirmative. It's always that thing that we have to do now that we never wanted to do before. And that's why it creates such fear. That's why people are so reluctant to change. That's why people just avoid it altogether. And we stay stagnant and we stay where we are and we never push into the future. We never push to change. Because a change is admitting that whatever we were doing was wrong, or we weren't looking into the future and now we have to change to do something else. Or it was this unforeseen obstacle that's coming and now we have to, and this is why, I'll use a word, react. That's why we don't use change in the positive sense. It's because we use it as reactionary. It's a reaction to this unknown force or this gigantic obstacle that's coming down the mountain at us. It's a reaction to it. So how do we revise that mindset? How do we view that problem a little differently? And that's what I focus on. And I've written on that over the years extensively about how to view the world differently, how to react to change, and then how to adapt to it. Let's face it, change is constant. You're never going to avoid it all. It's going to happen. But we're going to go through today some case stories and some things from my own personal experience about how I've adapted to change and how I've embraced change and how I view those problems and challenges differently. I view them as opportunities. Because we'll see, as we go through the presentation, if we change that linear view of goals and achievement and success and the right way to do things that we've all been taught, that narrow focus, and we broaden it out, we'll find that we can capture and recognize and seize these opportunities along the way. But we have this wealth of experience. We ended up in the county. We ended up in the vicinity. We might have had to make a change along the way. Reaction to an obstacle. But we embraced it. And we still ended up at our final destination. And those are the transformative companies that you can become, that we'll work on, that I'll lead you into, that I'll show you how we adapt to this and how we proactively search for new opportunities and embracing change and embracing those challenges and rolling it into what we do, and then it just becomes us. And so we look at some of these companies in history, which is one of our greatest teachers, but we look at these companies in history that are dynamic today, that were dynamic 30 years ago, that were dynamic 50 years ago, and look at all of the market changes that have come along the way, and they're still going. And the ones that really sink in for me, and the ones that I really focus on, are the ones that did not have to adapt to a major change in their market or a major change in their world, because they were actively seeking those opportunities along the way. They were rolling in little adjustments. They were evolving and growing every day, every month, every year. We're looking for those opportunities, and we're embracing them, and we're building them in, and we're actively searching for them. And so by the time we end up, take the film industry, by the time we take from digital, from film cameras, 35 millimeter, into the Facebook, Instagram, Twitter world today, where everything's digital and it's on your phone, how many people in this crowd actually own a camera anymore that isn't a DSLR? Yeah, everybody owns a phone. Transformative change. Nobody wanted to do that. It was just something that we evolved and grew into. And so when you learn how to embrace those, you don't have to forecast everything. You don't have to be this Swami that can read the card like like Carson used to do. You don't have to be that figure. You just have to embrace the little things along the way. And so I'm going to teach you how to do that. And we're going to talk about some success stories and some case stories and things that I've done in my world, in my life, in my career to foster that mindset, to build that mindset, to embrace it. And hopefully you can start to put these sort of pieces together. And we can come back next year and I can talk to you again. And I can talk to you year after year. And we can see the changes that you've enacted, those growth and evolutionary advantages that you've seized, capturing those opportunities to build and grow and be better all the time. And then we never have to react to change because change becomes who we are. Constantly changing, constantly evolving, constantly growing. That's how you embrace change. That's how you protect against change. That's how you grow. And that's what I do.